From the south side of Chicago to center stage on the world's biggest platforms, Jennifer Hudson's journey is the ultimate tale of triumph. Once a young dreamer with a big voice, she rose from humble beginnings to become one of the few entertainers to achieve EGOT status. But what does life look like now for this Hollywood queen? In this video, we take you behind the curtain of Jennifer Hudson's luxurious lifestyle, from her stunning residences and elegant fashion to the powerful cars and moments of quiet grace that reflect her evolution. We'll explore her groundbreaking career moves, the choices that shaped her legacy, and her estimated net worth in 2025. This is more than just a glow-up. It's the inspiring story of how raw talent, grit, and heart can turn a dream into royalty. Before the world knew her name, before the standing ovations, golden statues, or standing beside musical royalty, Jennifer Kate Hudson was just a little girl from Englewood, one of Chicago's most underserved neighborhoods. Born on September 12, 1981, she was the youngest of 3 children to Darnell Donnerson and Samuel Simpson. Her early years were defined not by extravagance, but by faith, family, and the sheer force of her natural voice. In a household filled with church-going tradition and tight-knit values, music was more than entertainment. It was a way of life. Jennifer's first stage wasn't a stadium or theater. It was the pews of her local Baptist church. At just 7 years old, she began singing in the church choir, guided by the rhythms of gospel and the soulful sway of old spirituals. The church was both sanctuary and stage, and young Jennifer soaked up every moment. Her mother, Darnell, worked as a school bus driver and homemaker, a grounding force in Jennifer's life. Her father, though not always present, contributed to her growing sense of resilience. In a neighborhood where opportunity could feel like a myth, Darnell instilled a sense of belief in her daughter that greatness wasn't just possible. It was expected, if only Jennifer was willing to work for it. Even then, there was something extraordinary about her voice. Neighbors would gather on porches just to hear her sing Whitney Houston, mimicking runs and belts with uncanny precision. She had the gift, a former teacher once recalled. But more than that, she had fire. Jennifer found herself captivated by the greats: Aretha Franklin, Mariah Carey, Patti LaBelle, and of course Whitney. Their posters lined her bedroom walls, not just as idols, but as roadmaps for what could be. Her siblings supported her, but even they sometimes marveled at the way music seemed to live in her bones. Outside of church, her first performances were humble: family barbecues, school assemblies, neighborhood talent shows. But there was never a time when she wasn't preparing for more, dreaming of stages far beyond Chicago. Still, her early life was not without its challenges. The streets of Englewood were tough, and Jennifer often found herself seeking solace in music when life felt uncertain. "Singing was how I made sense of the world," she later said. "It's where I put the pain, the joy, and the hope." Those early years laid the foundation, not only for a powerhouse vocalist, but for a woman who would someday be defined as much by her strength as her sound. From cracked sidewalks to choir lofts, Jennifer Hudson's roots were deep, and they would anchor her for everything to come. Jennifer Hudson's educational journey was shaped by her voice as much as her vision. Growing up on Chicago's South Side, she attended Dunbar Vocational High School, a school known more for trade skills than artistic development. But even within those practical walls, Jennifer found ways to let her voice echo. She joined the school choir, sang in assemblies, and stood out as a teen whose talent was impossible to ignore. While other students might have viewed high school as a stepping stone to steady employment, Jennifer saw it as a launchpad toward something greater. Music wasn't a hobby, it was her calling. Teachers and classmates alike recall how she'd perform after school in classrooms or hallways, always looking for an audience, always rehearsing something. After graduation in 1999, Jennifer briefly enrolled at Langston University, a historically black college in Oklahoma. But the distance from home and the lack of a strong music program left her feeling disconnected. She returned to Chicago and continued her studies at Kennedy King College, a local community college that gave her flexibility and proximity to family, all while keeping her voice at the center of her life. During this time, Jennifer started auditioning for local theater productions, and eventually landed a job singing on Disney cruise ships with The Wonder. It was an unconventional stage, but an invaluable one. Performing multiple shows a week in front of live audiences honed her stage presence and vocal control. On that ship, surrounded by ocean and opportunity, Jennifer rehearsed not just songs, but her future. Influences remained strong throughout this period. Whitney Houston remained her North Star. Jennifer studied her performances the way some students study textbooks. Aretha Franklin's soul, Mariah Carey's range, Patti LaBelle's emotion. All of it wove into Jennifer's growing identity as a vocalist. She wasn't imitating them. She was absorbing them, channeling their spirit into her own unique delivery. By her early 20s, Jennifer was no longer just a talented girl from Chicago. She was a young artist with a sharpened voice, a resilient spirit, and a belief that her breakthrough was coming. And when American Idol came calling in 2004, she was more than ready to answer. When Jennifer Hudson walked into the audition room for American Idol in 2004, she wasn't the typical contestant. At 22 years old, she didn't come from a record label dream or a perfectly packaged pop image. She came from a cruise ship gig and a life of singing her heart out in churches and local theaters. But the moment she sang, the room shifted. Her audition in Atlanta stunned the judges. Her voice was rich, bold, and emotionally raw. Though Simon Cowell raised an eyebrow, both Randy Jackson and Paula Abdul recognized her gift immediately. She earned her golden ticket to Hollywood. And just like that, Jennifer Hudson stepped into the national spotlight. As American Idol Season 3 unfolded, Jennifer quickly became a fan favorite. Her performances of Circle of Life, I Have Nothing, and Weekend in New England showcased a vocal range and control that rivaled established stars. Each week, she sang not just with precision, but with purpose, carrying the grit of her past and the hope of her future in every note. But then came the shock. In a twist that stunned viewers and critics alike, Jennifer was eliminated in 7th place. Her exit was met with widespread disbelief, especially after what many considered a show-stopping performance of Elton John's Circle of Life. Even Elton himself expressed surprise at her elimination. For many, it was a reminder that talent doesn't always align with outcome. But for Jennifer, it became a pivot point. Instead of fading into post-reality show obscurity, she used the platform as fuel. Industry insiders had noticed her, casting directors were paying attention, and one very specific role was about to change everything. It's often said that losing American Idol was the best thing that ever happened to Jennifer Hudson. It gave her the hunger to prove herself outside of a competition. It freed her from the image constraints of the show. And most importantly, it made room for a destiny far bigger than a TV title. By the time she was offered the role of Effie White in Dreamgirls, Jennifer was ready, not just to sing, but to soar. What started as a setback quickly revealed itself as the setup for her breakthrough. Jennifer Hudson's true ascent to stardom didn't come from winning a television contest. It came from embodying a character who, much like her, refused to be silenced. In 2006, she landed the role of Effie White in the film adaptation of Dreamgirls, beating out hundreds of more established names. It was her first movie. It would become her defining moment. The character of Effie, a bold, brilliant singer who's forced to the sidelines in favor of more marketable faces, felt like a mirror of Jennifer's own journey. And when she performed the film's centerpiece, "And I Am Telling You I'm Not Going," audiences weren't just watching a scene. They were witnessing a coronation. Critics hailed her performance as historic. She brought a staggering emotional depth to the role, blending raw vulnerability with vocal firepower that left theaters breathless. The once overlooked girl from American Idol was now the centerpiece of a major Hollywood film, sharing the screen with Beyoncé, Jamie Foxx, and Eddie Murphy, and holding her own. Then came the awards. Jennifer Hudson swept nearly every major honor for her performance. She won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, making her only the third African-American woman in history to receive that accolade at the time. She also earned a Golden Globe, a BAFTA, and a Screen Actors Guild Award. With one role, she had transcended television fame and become a critically recognized artist. But her rise wasn't just about the accolades. It was about reclaiming her narrative. Where others had questioned her marketability, her look, or her fit in the industry, Jennifer answered with grace and excellence. She proved that power doesn't need to ask for permission. It simply arrives and transforms everything in its path. In the midst of this meteoric rise, Jennifer continued her work as a musician. Her debut album, released in 2008, debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 and eventually won a Grammy Award for Best R&B Album. She was no longer just an actress with a voice. She was an artist with range, versatility, and a story the world needed to hear. Yet, amid her success, 2008 would also become a year marked by personal tragedy. The loss of her mother, brother, and nephew to a senseless act of violence shook her to the core. But even in her darkest hours, Jennifer didn't disappear. She grieved privately, leaned on her faith, and emerged with an even deeper sense of purpose. Her rise was no longer just about fame. It was about survival, strength, and the enduring power of voice. Jennifer Hudson had arrived, and this time, she wasn't going anywhere. From the moment Jennifer Hudson stepped off the Dreamgirls stage and into the global spotlight, her career began to unfold like a symphony. Each note grander than the last, each chapter more defining. What began as a breakthrough in one film quickly evolved into a multi-dimensional, award-winning legacy. In 2008, she cemented her place in music history with the release of her self-titled debut studio album. Fueled by emotional ballads and powerful mid-tempo anthems, the album soared to number 1, 2 on the Billboard 200, and earned her a Grammy Award for Best R&B Album. It was a personal triumph that signaled her staying power beyond the screen. The voice that had once echoed through church pews now commanded international airwaves. Jennifer followed this success with 2 more studio albums, I Remember Me in 2011 and JHUD in 2014, each one showcasing her evolution as both a vocalist and a woman. Her performances became deeper, more reflective, her songwriting more personal. She wasn't just singing anymore, she was sharing. On the stage, she dazzled Broadway audiences with her role in the 2015 revival of The Color Purple. As Shug Avery, she lit up the stage with presence and soul, earning critical acclaim and once again proving that her talent couldn't be contained to a single medium. She moved seamlessly between screen, studio, and stage, a rare feat in any industry. Her versatility also led her to television, where she became a coach on The Voice in both the UK and US versions of the show. Her presence was more than star power. She was a mentor, a motivator, and an inspiration to the next generation of artists. Contestants didn't just want her guidance, they wanted her belief in them. Then, in 2021, Jennifer took on a role she was seemingly destined for, portraying Aretha Franklin in the biographical film Respect. Personally selected by the Queen of Soul before her passing, Jennifer immersed herself in the role with reverence and rigor. Her performance was widely praised, with critics highlighting the authenticity and passion she brought to the legendary icon's story. The crowning jewel of her accolades came in 2022, when Jennifer became the 17th person in history to achieve EGOT status, winning an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. It was a moment not just of celebration, but of cultural significance. She had transcended categories and proven that talent, when paired with tenacity, can rewrite history. Jennifer Hudson was no longer a rising star. She was a living legend in real time. Beyond the stage lights and camera flashes, Jennifer Hudson has steadily built a reputation as a businesswoman, philanthropist, and producer, leveraging her platform not only to elevate her career, but to empower others. One of her most high-profile partnerships began in 2010, when she became a spokesperson for Weight Watchers. Her transformation was more than physical. It was deeply personal. She used the platform not just to speak about wellness, but to inspire millions with a message of self-discipline and self-love. Her success with the program led to a best-selling memoir, I Got This: How I Changed My Ways and Lost What Weighed Me Down, solidifying her influence beyond entertainment. Jennifer also dove into philanthropy, founding the Julian D. King Gift Foundation in honor of her late nephew. The foundation provides stability, support, and positive experiences for underprivileged children, particularly in Chicago. Through annual toy drives, back-to-school giveaways, and wellness programming, she's turned personal loss into a force for healing in the lives of others. Her presence in television expanded behind the scenes as well. In 2022, Jennifer launched The Jennifer Hudson Show, a daytime talk show that quickly garnered a loyal audience. With her signature warmth, authenticity, and musical surprises, the show positioned her not only as a performer, but as a voice of culture and connection. Celebrities, everyday heroes, and rising talents all found space on her couch and in her heart. More quietly, Jennifer has been building a foothold in production. Under her banner J. Shude Productions, she's taken on the role of executive producer for film and television projects focused on stories of resilience and redemption. Her vision: to amplify narratives that reflect her journey and uplift underrepresented voices. In 2025, she's reportedly exploring ventures in fashion and home decor, with whispers of a lifestyle brand in the works, one that reflects her clean, elegant aesthetic and deep appreciation for comfort with character. Whether in front of the camera or behind the boardroom doors, Jennifer Hudson's ventures are guided by purpose, not just profit. Every project is an extension of her voice, bold, grounded, and always tuned to something deeper. Jennifer Hudson's lifestyle in 2025 is a reflection of quiet luxury and soulful intention, a harmonious blend of sophistication, comfort, and the values she was raised with. Though fame brought her access to the world's most exclusive spaces, Jennifer has always remained grounded. Her real estate portfolio and day-to-day surroundings are curated not just for status, but for peace, creativity, and connection. Her primary residence is an expansive estate just outside Los Angeles, tucked away in a gated community where privacy meets panoramic views. The home is a study in modern elegance: floor-to-ceiling windows, soft, neutral interiors, custom art installations, and sleek finishes that balance minimalism with warmth. The heart of the home is her music lounge, where a baby grand piano rests under soft, pendant lighting. It's not just a showpiece, it's where songs are born, stories are written, and emotions find voice. Jennifer's aesthetic is deeply personal. Every room carries intention: muted tones inspired by nature, spiritual symbols tucked subtly into decor, and gallery walls filled with family photos and framed awards. There's a calm energy in her space, equal parts sanctuary and studio. She still owns property in her hometown of Chicago, including a spacious lakeside mansion she purchased in 2011. The home includes a recording studio, fitness center, home theater, and a custom-designed kitchen, where she often hosts intimate gatherings for family and close friends. Despite her global fame, Chicago remains a cornerstone in her identity. It's where her story began, and where she returns to reconnect with her roots. In 2025, sources close to the star say she's eyeing a second coastal property, possibly in Miami or Malibu, seeking a retreat by the sea where she can unwind, reflect, and recharge in between projects. Known for her love of water, it's no surprise that Jennifer is drawn to spaces where stillness meets inspiration. Her lifestyle, though undoubtedly luxurious, is never ostentatious. She favors experiences over excess: wellness retreats, spontaneous family road trips, surprise visits to her foundation programs. She travels frequently, but lives slowly. Every square foot of her home life, whether in LA or Chicago, is built around harmony, a place where her past and present can live together with grace. In a world obsessed with glitz, Jennifer Hudson's real estate tells a different story of evolution, elegance, and a woman who turned every room she entered into something meaningful. Jennifer Hudson's taste in luxury isn't about flash, it's about presence. Whether arriving at an awards show or gliding into a foundation gala, she moves with a quiet power. And her impressive car collection is no exception, a seamless mix of performance, elegance, and personal flair. At the center of her garage is a Rolls-Royce Ghost, finished in a pearlescent white with custom champagne leather interiors. The Ghost reflects Jennifer's signature style: refined, graceful, and undeniably commanding. It's her go-to for high-profile appearances, where understated prestige says more than extravagance ever could. Then there's her Tesla Model S Plaid, the tech-savvy performer that aligns perfectly with her eco-conscious values. Equipped with the top-tier trim, panoramic glass roof, and custom audio upgrades, it's Jennifer's preferred daily driver. Silent, smooth, and futuristic, just like her approach to business and creativity. Her love for American comfort shines through in her Cadillac Escalade ESV, an extended luxury SUV with rear executive seating and an integrated entertainment system. It's the car she uses for family travel, spacious enough for her son, David Jr., close relatives, and even the occasional rescue pet she fosters. But her most personal ride might just be her Ferrari Portofino, a sleek convertible in deep sapphire blue. It's not just a vehicle, it's a statement. With twin-turbo V8 power and a retractable hardtop, this car symbolizes the freedom she's fought for and the joy she's reclaimed. It's Jennifer's escape car, often spotted along the Pacific Coast Highway, wind in her hair, music in her soul. For long-haul travel, Jennifer flies private aboard a Gulfstream G450, equipped with plush suede interiors, reclining leather seats, and, uniquely, an onboard vocal booth she had custom installed. The aircraft is more than transport. It's a moving sanctuary. Whether she's hopping between cities for the Jennifer Hudson show or flying overseas for performances, she travels in calm, quiet luxury, always with a small photo of her family on board. In addition to vehicles, Jennifer has a keen eye for luxury timepieces and designer handbags. She's often seen wearing Cartier and Audemars Piguet watches and has a curated collection of Hermès and Louis Vuitton pieces, though she rarely flaunts them. Each item in her possession has a story, a memory, or a message of self-earned grace. Jennifer Hudson's luxury assets don't just showcase her wealth, they reflect her journey. From gospel roots to global stages, every car, every jet, every detail speaks to a woman who has not just arrived, but arrived in style. Jennifer Hudson has never been one to seek the spotlight for political drama, but when she speaks, people listen. Her voice, which has moved millions through song, has also echoed powerfully in moments of national urgency, particularly on issues close to her heart. After experiencing profound personal tragedy in 2008, when her mother, brother, and nephew were victims of gun violence, Jennifer became a quiet but unwavering advocate for gun control reform. While she rarely engages in partisan politics, she has consistently used her platform to support legislation aimed at curbing illegal firearms and increasing community safety, particularly in underserved neighborhoods like the one where she was raised. She's also been a strong supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement, speaking out against systemic racism and police brutality. Jennifer often highlights the importance of community empowerment through education, arts access, and mental health resources, tools she believes can help break generational cycles of poverty and violence. During election seasons, she's frequently involved in voter outreach, partnering with organizations like When We All Vote to encourage turnout, especially among young and marginalized voters. Her message is rooted in hope and accountability, reminding fans that change begins at the ballot box, but continues with daily action. Still, Jennifer's activism is marked by grace. She doesn't grandstand or polarize, she uplifts. Whether through tribute performances at civil rights events or private conversations with community leaders, her impact is steady and sincere. In 2025, Jennifer Hudson remains a cultural figure who chooses her moments with care, someone who uses her influence not for division, but for healing and forward motion. At the core of Jennifer Hudson's success isn't just her voice, it's her spirit. Her journey has been shaped by loss, triumph, discipline, and faith. And by 2025, her personal philosophy reflects a life lived with deep intentionality and quiet strength. Faith has always been Jennifer's compass. Raised in the Baptist tradition, she continues to ground herself in spirituality, prayer, and gratitude. Her relationship with God isn't performative. It's deeply personal, and it informs everything from the roles she takes on to the way she moves through the world. Faith is the only reason I'm still standing, she's said in interviews, a mantra she lives by both on stage and off. That foundation has also carried over into her approach to wellness. Jennifer doesn't chase fads. Instead, She follows a holistic lifestyle rooted in self-awareness and long-term health. After famously transforming her body through healthier habits in the early 2000s and 10s, she now maintains balance through clean eating, movement, and mental clarity. While she leans toward a plant-based diet, she's not rigid. Her focus is on sustainability and joy. Her mornings begin with quiet rituals, a moment of stillness, a gratitude journal entry, vocal warm-ups, and light stretching. She values solitude as much as connection, and views self-care not as luxury, but as survival. Mental health, once a taboo topic, is something she now champions publicly, encouraging others, especially in the Black community, to seek therapy, healing, and rest. Jennifer also believes deeply in purpose. Whether mentoring young artists or curating her talk show guests, she makes choices that align with her values. She's not driven by popularity, but by authenticity. To her, fame is a platform, but purpose is the point. In a world that moves fast and often loud, Jennifer Hudson's belief system is rooted in quiet power, spiritual alignment, and the enduring belief that healing, truth, and legacy matter more than headlines. Behind the spotlight and accolades, Jennifer Hudson's most cherished role has always been one played far from the public eye, being a mother. Her son, David Daniel Otunga Jr., born in 2009, remains the heart of her world. To Jennifer, motherhood isn't a side note in her story. It's the rhythm that keeps her grounded, even when the world around her moves at a dizzying pace. Raising David Jr. has been a journey of balance. Despite her demanding schedule, from studio sessions to hosting the Jennifer Hudson Show, she makes time to show up for school events, sports practices, and quiet family nights at home. She calls him her greatest inspiration, and it's clear that their bond is deep, rooted in love, laughter, and mutual respect. Jennifer has often spoken about how her son gave her purpose in her darkest hours, especially after the 2008 tragedy that shook her family. Jennifer shares custody of David Jr. with her former fiancé, David Otunga, a Harvard Law graduate turned professional wrestler. Their nearly decade-long relationship ended in 2017, but both have committed to co-parenting with stability and care. Over the years, they've navigated high-profile challenges privately, keeping their son's well-being at the center of every decision. In 2025, rumors continue to swirl about Jennifer's romantic life, though she remains famously private on the subject. Industry insiders have linked her to a discreet romance with a fellow entertainment executive, but Jennifer has neither confirmed nor denied the speculation. What is certain, however, is her contentment. She radiates peace, and those closest to her say she's in a chapter defined not by who she's with, but by who she's become. Family remains her sanctuary. She is still deeply connected to her sister, nieces, and extended relatives in Chicago, often visiting them when the cameras are off. Holidays are sacred, celebrated with soul food, storytelling, and gospel music filling the room. Jennifer Hudson may be a global icon, but she is also a daughter, a sister, a mother, and a woman who understands that the truest legacy lives not in the trophies on a shelf, but in the love we nurture behind closed doors. For all the world knows about Jennifer Hudson's towering voice and cinematic presence, there are still facets of her life that fly quietly under the radar. Quirks, talents, and interests that show a softer, more playful side to the icon. Few fans realize that Jennifer is an avid sketch artist. During downtime on set or at home, she often turns to her sketch pad, drawing everything from fashion designs to detailed portraits. It's a meditative hobby she picked up in her teens, and one she's kept private, until a few of her framed works quietly appeared in her home during a 2024 virtual tour. She also has an uncanny gift for vocal impersonations. Whether mimicking Aretha Franklin's tone, Beyoncé's phrasing, or Whitney Houston's vibrato, Jennifer can channel other artists with remarkable precision, often to the delight of friends backstage. It's not about imitation, but appreciation. Every great singer studies other voices, she said. It's like learning new languages. Another lesser-known obsession? Interior design. Jennifer is a self-confessed HGTV addict and has personally overseen every detail in her homes. She finds joy in textures, color palettes, and mood lighting, often redecorating her rooms to match the seasons or emotional rhythms in her life. If she weren't in entertainment, she's joked, she'd be flipping houses on a design show. And beneath her commanding stage persona is a surprising introvert. Jennifer recharges in quiet moments, reading memoirs, writing poetry under a pseudonym, or simply sitting at the piano to play melodies no one else will hear. In a world that often demands public performance, Jennifer Hudson has built a quiet inner life full of joy, artistry, and hidden dimensions. A reminder that even legends have layers waiting to be discovered. For all her grace and glory, Jennifer Hudson's journey has not been without pain. Her resilience didn't come from untouched success. It was forged in the fire of loss, scrutiny, and the high cost of public life. The most harrowing chapter of her story came in October 2008, when the unthinkable happened. Her mother, Darnell Donnerson, her brother, Jason Hudson, and her 7-year-old nephew, Julian King, were tragically murdered in a targeted act of domestic violence. The news stunned the nation. Jennifer, at the peak of her rising stardom, disappeared from the public eye, retreating into silence and grief. In the months that followed, she leaned on her faith, her family, and the newly forming bond with her son, David Jr., who was born less than a year later. The tragedy could have ended her career. Instead, it revealed a depth of strength that defined her future. In memory of her nephew, she founded the Julian D. King Gift Foundation, turning sorrow into service for underserved children across the country. Over the years, Jennifer has also weathered public scrutiny over her physical appearance, particularly during and after her high-profile weight loss. She has spoken openly about the pressure of maintaining image in an industry that rarely shows mercy. But true to form, she responded on her own terms, authentically, powerfully, and without apology. Her breakup with David Otunga in 2017 made headlines as well, particularly due to legal disputes surrounding custody of their son. Though the split was deeply personal, the media coverage often reduced it to tabloid drama. Jennifer never retaliated publicly. She stayed focused on her child, her career, and her healing. Through it all, she has managed to maintain an admirable level of privacy and control over her narrative. She doesn't respond to rumors, doesn't engage in celebrity feuds, and rarely speaks unless there's purpose behind her words. In a world that often profits from the downfall of stars, Jennifer Hudson remains a model of quiet endurance. Her setbacks have shaped her, but never defined her. Each one was met not with defeat, but with a renewed sense of clarity and grace. Her scars are not secrets, they're symbols of survival. Jennifer Hudson's legacy is one of resilience, reinvention, and resonance. In an industry that often values novelty over depth, she has carved out a lasting space for herself, not just as a vocalist or actress, but as a cultural force. Her journey from a Southside church pew to achieving EGOT status places her in a category of rare distinction, but even more remarkable than the titles is the truth behind her success. She did it without compromise. By 2025, Jennifer is not merely a celebrity, she is an institution. Her voice has become synonymous with power and soul. Her performances studied by vocal coaches, aspiring singers, and theater students alike. And yet, what makes her truly iconic is that she has used every spotlight as a mirror, reflecting the stories of the communities, causes, and people she stands for. Her impact on music is undeniable. She redefined what it means to sing from the gut, bringing gospel emotion into mainstream pop and R&B. In film and on Broadway, she proved that authenticity can rival experience, earning accolades in rooms where she once felt like an outsider. As a talk show host, she built a space where real stories could live, without sensationalism, without pretense. Jennifer's influence has stretched into education, activism, and cultural memory. Schools and nonprofit organizations across the U.S. use her story to teach young people about perseverance. In Chicago, murals of her face mark the walls of youth centers. She is not just a hometown hero, she's a global role model whose career has inspired a generation of artists to be bold, be soulful, and be unshakably themselves. Her commitment to philanthropy ensures that her legacy goes beyond the stage. The Julian D. King Gift Foundation continues to provide scholarships, resources, and programs for children in underserved communities. It's not charity. It's a promise that others will rise with her. Jennifer Hudson's cultural impact lies in the way she's lived her story, with humility, heart, and an unwavering belief in purpose. She didn't just survive the odds, she redefined them. And in doing so, she became something more than a performer. She became a symbol of hope, of healing, and of what happens when talent meets truth. Jennifer Hudson's story is not just one of fame, it's one of faith, fire, and fearlessness. From the streets of Inglewood to the stages of Hollywood and Broadway, she's transformed every setback into a stepping stone, every note into a narrative, and every room she's entered into a space for truth. In 2025, her life is a rich tapestry woven from soul and success, a voice that moved millions, a legacy that lifts others. Her homes reflect her peace, her cars, her journey. Her private jet is a vessel not just for travel, but for freedom. And her net worth, now soaring beyond $50 million, isn't just wealth. It's proof that authenticity has value. But beyond the awards, the accolades, and the applause, Jennifer Hudson remains something much more powerful, real, rooted in faith, driven by love, inspired by purpose. She didn't just live the dream, she rewrote it. So whether you remember her as Effie, as Aretha, as a Grammy-winning powerhouse, or simply as a woman who sings like the truth, know this: Jennifer Hudson's lifestyle in 2025 is not just luxurious, it's legendary.